The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Chicago Bears are about to collide in a matchup that could flip the momentum of both teams. And trust me, you'll want every detail before kickoff. Right now, the 6-4 Steelers are heading into the heart of Chicago to face the 7-3 Bears at Soldier Field, with kickoff set for 1 p.m. Eastern. But the big question everyone's asking is simple. Who's actually taking the field, and who isn't? Before we dive into the injury twists, roster shakes, and the unexpected news that dropped today, pause if you enjoy staying ahead of every major Steelers update. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video and tap the bell icon so you never miss breaking news, injury alerts, or game day insights. It helps more than you know. Now let's jump right back in. Today brought some much-needed clarity for Pittsburgh. Cameron Hayward, who raised concerns earlier this week after popping up on the injury report with an ankle issue, is officially good to go. No restrictions. No game status. He's in. Same for Darius Slay. After being listed as questionable due to a concussion, he's now cleared and ready to suit up. That's a huge relief for a defense that needs every weapon it can bring into Soldier Field. Cole Holcomb, who battled an illness this week, is also fully cleared. Isaac Sumalo and a few other names that floated around the injury report have likewise been given the green light. But not everything is smooth sailing. Alex Highsmith remains the biggest question mark. His pec injury hasn't progressed fast enough, and he's officially listed as doubtful. A tough blow with Chicago's offense heating up. And then there's the headline everyone's watching, Aaron Rodgers. After that left wrist injury against Cincinnati, leaving the game at halftime and never returning. His status is the biggest cloud hanging over this matchup. There's more to break down, more surprises coming, and some storylines in this game that could decide the entire trajectory of the season. So stay with me. When Mason Rudolph stepped in last week, the situation looked uncertain, but now we finally have a clearer picture. Aaron Rodgers' hand fracture has been the biggest storyline all week, and despite the severity, he pushed through practice every day except Wednesday. Thursday and Friday both saw him take limited reps, which leaves him officially listed as questionable for this matchup. What does that really mean? It comes down to one thing: whether the coaching staff believes he can protect himself. If that wrist can handle contact, if landing on it won't make things worse, then Rodgers will be under center. If there's even a hint of added risk, the Steelers won't hesitate to roll with Mason Rudolph as the starter, with Will Howard waiting behind him. Another situation that had fans holding their breath was Jaylen Warren's ankle. The way his leg twisted last week looked brutal at first glance. But after missing Wednesday's practice and returning as a full participant Friday, he's officially cleared. Pittsburgh avoids what could have been a major setback in the run game. Those wrap up the Steelers' key injury notes. But Chicago has problems of its own, and they run deep. The Bears' injury list is stacked with tough losses, starting with linebacker Tremaine Edmunds. His groin issue has ruled him out entirely. TJ Edwards won't be suiting up either. His combination of hand and hamstring injuries has sidelined him for the week. Their backfield has been hit hard, too. Travis Homer is out with knee and hamstring trouble. Roscoe Johnson is sidelined by a thumb injury. And linebacker Noah Sewell joins the list with an elbow issue. And that's not even all of them. Chicago still has several players sitting in the questionable column as kickoff approaches. More names, more uncertainty, and a matchup that's getting more unpredictable by the hour. Chicago's injury list doesn't stop with the names already ruled out. For more players are hanging in that uneasy middle ground. Players who could swing the flow of this game if they suit up, or if they don't. Theo Bendit, dealing with a shoulder issue, remains questionable. Kyler Gordon, one of their young cornerbacks, is battling a calf problem. Jalen Johnson, the cornerstone of their secondary, is nursing a groin injury and is also uncertain. All four are true game-time decisions. Add them to the 5 players Chicago already lost for the week, and suddenly the Bears are walking into this matchup with a defense stretched thin and patched together. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh watches and waits, knowing those final decisions could completely shift how this game unfolds. And when we talk impact, nothing even comes close to what happens if Aaron Rodgers can't go. Quarterback is the heartbeat of any team. Take away your starter, and everything changes: the rhythm, the calls, the confidence, the entire identity of the offense. If Rodgers sits, the Steelers must reroute their entire weekly plan and tailor it to Mason Rudolph on short notice. That's a massive adjustment, no matter how prepared you think you are. But the Bears have their own crisis brewing. If Kyler Gordon or Jalen Johnson can't play, Pittsburgh's passing attack suddenly has a green light. Those two are the backbone of Chicago's secondary, and without them, the field opens up fast. Combine that with the loss of key linebackers like TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, and running lanes begin to appear where there normally wouldn't be any. Chicago's defense has already struggled this season. They've given up yards, they've given up points, and they've had trouble keeping games under control. Strip away even more starters, and the situation becomes even more lopsided. Even if Rodgers isn't able to play, Pittsburgh should still find opportunities all over the field. With Chicago this battered, the Steelers' offense has room to attack however they choose. Ground, air, pace, pressure, you name it. And that sets the stage for a matchup that might look very different depending on who steps onto the field at kickoff. Back on the Steelers' side, the loss of Alex Highsmith looms large. Chicago already gives up more sacks than almost anyone, and Caleb Williams has taken his fair share of hits this season. Highsmith is the kind of edge presence who turns pressure into panic. Without him, Pittsburgh loses one of its most reliable closers on the outside. That puts extra responsibility on Nick Herbig to fill the void and keep the heat coming. But let's step away from the injury list for a moment and talk about what actually has to happen on the field. For Pittsburgh, the formula isn't complicated. They need to commit to the ground game. Chicago's injuries make them vulnerable, but this has been the Steelers' identity all year. When Jaylen Warren finds a rhythm, the entire offense comes alive. When Kenneth Gainwell gets rolling, drives feel smoother and more controlled. It's their blueprint, and it works. With Mason Rudolph likely to be involved, the approach tweaks slightly. Rudolph has always been more aggressive vertically than Rodgers has been this season. That means more deep shots, more go routes, more straight-line pressure, more let's test the cornerbacks and see if they can run with us. DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, and anyone else who can stretch the field becomes a key weapon. Another major factor? Darnell Washington. Every time the Steelers give him over 40 snaps, it changes the complexion of the offense. His impact as a blocker and growing presence as a pass catcher make him invaluable. When he's heavily involved, the team wins, plain and simple. Pittsburgh needs to keep him on the field and keep leaning into what he does best. Defensively, the assignment is clear. Keep Caleb Williams trapped inside the pocket. Once he breaks loose and starts improvising, he becomes unpredictable, extending plays, hitting receivers on the move, and finding daylight where none should exist. But when he's forced to stay put, when he can't escape, his decision-making tightens and the sacks pile up. Contain him. Collapse the pocket. Force him to stay where he's least comfortable. That's the key to slowing him down, and the key to controlling the game. The mission for Pittsburgh's defense stays simple. Keep Caleb Williams boxed in and make him beat you from the pocket. That's where he hesitates, where the mistakes show up, and where turnovers start piling up. The Steelers just need to repeat last week's discipline, being in the right place, reading the field, and jumping on every opportunity that comes their way. There will be chances. The key is finishing them. And one more thing matters for this defense. Ride the players who are performing. James Pierre has been outstanding in relief roles this season. Smart, physical, and consistently in phase with receivers. Even with Darius Slay healthy, the hot hand belongs to Pierre. Keep him on the field. That stability could be the difference between controlled chaos and costly mistakes. Now, over to Chicago. Their blueprint is the opposite. Get Caleb Williams out of the pocket, constantly. Pittsburgh's pass rush is relentless, one of the best in the league, and sitting still is exactly what they want from him. The Bears must keep him moving, rolling, improvising, firing on the run where he's most dangerous. They also need to lean hard on the running backs, screens, delays, misdirection, whatever it takes. Pittsburgh has struggled with backs who get the ball quickly in space, and Chicago can use that to tilt the field in their favor. Add in the deep shots, too. The Steelers have had moments of confusion in coverage, and if the Bears can exploit that early, they can create some real momentum. But can they finish drives? That's the question. Pittsburgh may bend, but once the field shrinks, they rarely break. On defense, Chicago's path is steep. They need stops against both the run and the pass, and with so many injuries, they're going to rely heavily on forcing turnovers. Without that, it's tough to imagine them holding up for 4 quarters. As for the outcome, I think the Steelers take this one. Chicago's defense is already struggling, and the injuries only widen the cracks. If it turns into a shootout, the Bears have weapons, but I don't see it leaning that way. Pittsburgh has tightened up recently, and even if the score ends up closer than expected, I still believe the Steelers walk away with the win. Those are my thoughts. Now let's keep going, because there's still more to break down and even more to watch for as kickoff approaches.